Huh? Yeah, you see him.
So you were talking the other night about reflecting on the valleys, the mountaintops, and the growth of the season. How do you feel now with a couple of days to think about things and kind of where you guys are, where you are?
Yeah, having just like a day or two to go back and look at it and kind of reflect on the season. It's kind of the same mentality, just like super grateful for, the people, you come in to work with, the hard work people put in. And, of course it hasn't been perfect, but when is it ever perfect in your life? So I'm more, excited because I know the only way is up, and if even in a year like this, to me, was a successful year, not to the point of the standard that I would like, but, to have another year of a playoff win and, to be 2 years in, man, it's amazing. And I'm not going to get comfortable, with that result. I want more. So, and I'm not going to get comfortable with anything less. I want more. And, but I'm grateful for it all because I know that these are type of moments in life that I'll learn from for the rest of my life.
How close do you think you guys are to getting to that next level that this team has never been to, and how do you get to that next level?
Yeah, I think we're really close, and to get to that level is really first it starts with communication, and hard conversations have to be had. There has to be things fixed and things worked out, and just really honest conversation. So. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is like this team won't look the same next year from top to bottom. And, you have to be okay with that and learn that, there has to be from day one of off-season program, there has to be a standard set, and that standard has to be, where I come from, like at Ohio State was like, I'm not going to be the one to mess this thing up. Like, I'm going to be the one to make this team win the game. If that's week one all the way to the AFC Championship, like that standard from training camp, that has to be the standard. And so I feel like that's what needs to be for us to get over that hump. Is those, if you ain't bringing it every day, you stick out like a sore thumb. And I think that mentality has to be brought here. And I think we have the guys to do it, coachingly and some guys playerly wise as well. So I think we can get better at that as well.
Learn about C.J. Stroud this season?
Man, that's a lot. I feel like I learned, that you can't get comfortable. Like, there's one thing in this league, being comfortable will get you got. And, I think for me, I wouldn't say that I was comfortable, but I definitely had a feeling like I knew I was going to do well. And even that's dangerous, so, and I would say, man, it's cliche, but you really can control what you can control. Control the controllables. If you can't control it, you can't let it stress you as best as to your ability. It's easier said than done. So I would say those two of the main things I learned was, don't get comfortable and stay hungry and, control the controllables.
What's the offseason look like for you, CJ?
Yeah, for me, just reflecting on the year, a lot of self-scout. And of course, personal growth and things like that. And really, relaxing. It's not a crime, to take care of yourself sometimes. And I'll probably do that a little bit of just, take a week off or something and then hit it hard and, get my body right. I don't think it's a secret anymore that I can run a little bit. So, I got to get my body right to make sure I can take some of those hits and be ready for next year.
Fell outdoors in the postseason, on the road. Have you talked about wanting to secure home field advantage later through the postseason?
Yeah, that's always the dream, but at the end of the day, you play in the cold. I don't think that really had anything to do with, the last 2 years. You look at it, we were still throwing the ball well, still running it well. But yeah, it would definitely be nice. I think Houston would appreciate that, hosting more playoff games. Every time we have one is lit. So, I'm appreciative of that. But I also think, that would be dope. And, I don't really think weather has any, at least for me, like I'm kind of a little used to it now. So, yeah.
You talked about having hard conversation. Are we talking visceral hard conversations? Is this individual, collectively, or what? I mean, what is the genesis? I mean, where does it start, and how does it get through?
Yeah.
For the season to come back next year, not to be standing here now.
Yeah, it's not just today. It's not just this week. It's over time, and most of them are individual, and some of them are as a collective. And for me, it's my job to be honest and my job to be transparent, and that's what I feel like I'll do, throughout this time, and with free agency and draft and everything. If my opinion is asked, I'm going to give it like it or not. So, yeah, and I think I would like that same type of honesty back to myself, because with that comes clarity, and it comes just clear communication and transparency. So, yeah, it'll be over time, but I definitely think today was the start of that, and we'll continue to have conversations, and and it's a healthy thing. It's not a bad thing. It's really healthy to have those type of conversations, and even if they turn into things where it's confrontation or whatever, that's necessary. We're all men in here mostly, and you figure it out, and and we all got love for one another. You spend years with guys, or you spend a whole year with somebody, you'll learn to like them and learn to have things to like about them. So, yeah.
C.J. Jones, in answering a question about why he felt like it took a little bit longer to finally get going, like you all did towards the end of the year, he was saying he felt like maybe at first people were maybe kind of hunting for stats until they finally bought in. Did you get a sense that there was too many mouths to feed at first? Not in the sense that people were asking for stats, but it was just you have to figure out where to go, and then you finally did. You feel that sense, and what do you feel like it took to get?
I would say I don't think it was necessarily just that. I would say it was just like, you get like a puppy feeder. You have a whole bunch of puppies. The meaner puppy kind of takes over and kind of like can bully a couple of them off. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm just saying like there's certain games where like you have to lean towards one person. There's certain games where like they take Joe away or they take me away, and then you have to learn to do something else. And for me, I think guys handle it great. Like for guys to have as much success as they had throughout their careers, like you look at Steph. Like Steph came in with like, I just want to win. I don't care how it looks. I don't care how many catches I get. Like he really like meant that too, and you could see in how much joy he had being around the guys. So I would say, yeah, it was just some of those times. It's not necessarily like we're trying to cater to one person or cater to 3 people or just 5. Or the Texans want to win. We don't. However that gets done, it gets done. Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's not. So yeah, I don't really think. Like I don't think people were, at least for me, I didn't sense that of people wanting to like take over. I just think, sometimes it just shook out for some people, sometimes it didn't.
How would you evaluate the job Bobby did this year? Second year as offensive coordinator, and second year working with you.
Yeah, I think he did. He did great. I think he, as time went on, he got better and better and better, and was learning from his past and what he did in San Fran. Learning from what he's done on the defensive side, put into his own scheme, So I definitely think, that, he has a lot of success coming his way, and, I've been honored to, have it with him and hopefully, keep it going. So, I'm, definitely, on Bobby's side and appreciate him for, all the things he's taught me and, how great he's been, in my career so far.
To that point, not every quarterback has an opportunity to come in the league and have some stability at the offensive coordinator position. Yeah. How much did that help going into year 2 and potentially for year 3? What do you feel like things can be unlocked by just having 3 years with the same guy in the same system?
Yeah. I don't know how people can bounce from coordinator to coordinator. I know that I can't imagine. That's probably really tough. So I definitely don't recommend that. I definitely think you can find a rapport with a guy and build that. do it to the best of your ability. And it would be great, to have 3 years with that same scheme, that same type of, X's and O's and things like that would be great. So, yeah.
CJ, you mentioned a couple of times during the season being banged up. Is there anything other than just rest and staying off of it that you might have to have taken care of?
No, yeah, just rest. Yeah, thank God. I don't really have nothing too severe.
You mentioned how you guys are close. What do you feel like you guys will do to be able to get over that hump and instead of being close, just be there? What do you think you guys have to do? You guys obviously have the talent, so what do you think is next to get over that hump?
I think, like I kind of said before, just like that standard. That's the main thing I can say is like that mentality, that callous that you have to build in OTAs. Even when you're training by yourself, like you don't just do it on what we play on the 18th or something. We don't just do it on January 18th when everybody's looking. It's when nobody's looking, when it's just y'all in Ohio, like things like that. Like that's where you win, and that's where you build your toughness, in my opinion. And I think that standard of like, man, like I'm not going to be the one to like mess this thing up. And ultimately, like, yeah, you'll have bad plays, but like having things that happen in a game that like can be the turning point of winning and losing, like that's those moments is in the offseason, the installs of like protections and route depth and being really hard. Like I look at like some of the best offenses in the league this year. Like you look at Minnesota, Detroit, Tampa Bay doing great things, throwing the football. I can go on and on about, great offenses. To me, what it seems like, they do the same things that they do all season and just get really good at it and just switch up how they do it. The same guys run some of the same routes, and then you do stuff off of that. And so I think, that is something that you build in OTAs and guys being around and watching tape together. So I think that's the way we get over the hump, is taking things like that a lot more serious.
CJ, I know that Tank has a long road ahead of him, but I wondered if you could just speak to what he's meant to you in your couple of years here and, your hope for the future with him.
Yeah, it's not easy. Like I've told y'all many times, to see your brother like that, like going through what he's going through, and but I kind of, if a lot of times if it wasn't for Tank, I probably honestly would be crazy right now, because man, like me and him, we go through a lot of similar things. We have a lot of similar personalities, and he's somebody who keeps me sane, and without him probably even knowing it, just him being himself, like smiling and laughing and joking around, that helps me, like know that everything's gonna be okay. And so he helps me with that a lot. I think, I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, I love Tank.
For his future and, getting back on the field. I know it's going to be a long journey, but
man, he's built for it. That's what I was gonna say. Thank you for reminding me. He's built for it. Like, man, he's been through a lot in his life, and it's a cliche, but it's the truth, man. I don't know if you can back this with scripture, but I do believe it, which is maybe not be the best thing to say, but God does give his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, and there's no testimony without the test. And those, like I was telling y'all, those valleys or those wilderness moments is where God is learning to entrust you with, if he can give you more. And that's where I feel like it's happened to him, happened to me, happened to a lot of people around this country, not just football. It's just, I look at like the story of Moses. Moses led, the Israelites out of Egypt from being enslaved, and they went into, they crossed the Red Sea, and they're on the way to the Promised Land. It took them 40 years on a trip that I believe it should have took them 13 days. It took them 40 years to find it. And even through that, God kept them in his hand. And for me, I go back to Deuteronomy 8, the whole Deuteronomy 8, and just how God, even in disobedience or even in wilderness moments, he still has his hand on us, and he still is guiding us, directing us, showing us which way to go, giving us manna to eat, and I'm not trying to take you out of church, but man, like Deuteronomy 8 has been really keeping me sane this year. Just like even through those tough times, and for Tank, like God still has his hand on him, has a great plan for his life, and a great plan. And those wilderness moments are those times where he's learning to trust you with more, and he's breaking you down like a recycling plant. He's breaking you down so he can reuse your anointing to uplift you when you're humbled. And kind of like Peter, like Peter denied Jesus 3 times, and after that he was crushed in his spirit and like a broken heart. God used him and told him feed his sheep, and that's what I feel like is going to happen to Tank. He's going to have a season of harvest here to come.
We're going to close with Jonathan, C.J., Aaron, and Sarge.
Yeah, I know you longtime friends with Jaden.
Yeah.
I know he's kind of spoken that he wanted to break your records, but all that aside, like, what do you think about what he's been able to do?
Man, that boy going crazy. Like, I'm so happy for that dude. And it's not only just for him, like, the motivation he's giving to, like, back home where we come from, like, dude, you have no idea. Like, to see, and I'm not saying, no, it's just me or just him. It's like for us both together to be putting on for the IE as quarterbacks in the NFL, like, the first 2 kind of really to do it that I can think of, like, man, it's big time, man. It's giving kids back home hope that they can do it too. And, and the main thing too is, like, everybody from home knows we ain't perfect. Like, like, we probably ain't even the best athletes to come out where we come from, but, you stay at it and you stay down for the come up, like, man, you can really do this at the highest level. And so, man, I'm super proud of him. Like, man, he had, in my opinion, like, he's had the best rookie year of all time. And, that's what records are meant. They're meant to break. And he's broken, a lot of things. I would say, as a person, like, he ain't had it easy, like, just his background, losing his grandparents, and, in the city he's from, San Bernardino is not an easy place to be brought up in, so for him to beat the odds, man, to do what he's doing, man, I'm so happy and proud of that dude. We talk, a lot, and, I'm just very, 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 very happy for him and very proud of him. And, I don't root for many other teams, but I'm rooting for my boy. I'm rooting for the Commanders. So, yeah.
What about this season for the Texans are you most proud about?
I would say our resilience. Like, even though, like, it wasn't perfect and everybody and mama had an opinion about how we could have been doing this and we could have been doing that, like, that's life, like, it's easy to talk about it, but it's hard to step in between those lines. But to be resilient, every time we got hit in the face with adversity, dudes playing through injury, dudes buying into a new scheme they never did before, like, and I'm not saying like it hasn't been done before, but to be around such a selfless group has been amazing for me. To be around guys who just want to play ball at a high level, want to win, and to do it at whatever it takes. So I think that's what this year meant to me, is just resilience.
Yep. Joe Mixon was talking about what Nick Caserio has cooked up and how his confidence is going to build a roster. How do you think about that in terms of the context of, like he's mentioned, having those conversations, putting your input in?
Yeah.
And he also made a pitch for Stephon Diggs. He'd love to have Stephon back. Your thoughts on Steph?
Man, y'all know me. That's my boy. Like, I would love to have Steph back. And, man, I think we was just getting started. Like, you see, he was having so much fun. And we and him were starting to build a rapport. And, and really, he's a person where, he loves with his, he wears his, I don't know, what's the saying? You put your heart on your sleeve? Yeah, that one. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And in everything that he does, and I appreciate it, because in a world of perfectness, in a world of not being weak, in a world of everything being, perfect, like, he's one to tell you, like, he's not. And I'm right there with him. Like, I am not perfect. I am not the one to be up here to tell you how great I am. No, it's only by the grace and mercy of God that I am ever in this position, or, and he'll tell you the same. So to be around somebody like that who holds those same type of values, is amazing. And for him to be vulnerable in public, and things like that, like, it helps people that, are going through it. We're all going through something, man. Like, I really hope people, like, can sit there and really sit down and realize we are all going through things. And it don't make it right just because a person is on a pedestal to, like, get on them, or, like, to bash that person for whatever they do. Like, of course, yeah, like, you have to be accountable for your actions, but you should definitely, we have to learn to give each other the grace. And that's something that he taught me, is, like, man, giving grace ain't easy, but it's definitely necessary, because the way you judge, the way God will judge you. And that's just what I believe in. And, he's somebody who I would love to do all this whole thing back with. So, yeah.
Last two, Sam and Sarge. You're good? Go ahead, Sarge.
CJ, coming into this league year one, everybody watched how you blew everybody away. In year two, you may have went through some peaks and some valleys. And I know that this may be a little bit too early to ask, knowing that the season just ended on Saturday. But what do you want year three CJ Stroud to look like?
Just me. Yeah, I just want it to look like whatever the Lord wants it to. If it's in my control, I'm gonna mess it up. So I'm hands off. But of course, I got to put in action, of course, and put in the work, and I'll do that. And but for me, I just want to see growth in ball and life and every aspect. I just want to see growth and learn from my mistakes, and not harp on the past, and just learn from them and learn from my mistakes and everything like that. So that's what I feel like year three would be for me.
Real quickly, do you feel like you're able and you understand the pressure now of being a franchise quarterback?
Oh yeah. You don't understand, man. Like honestly, people probably look at me like I'm crazy, but you don't know what it comes with until you put on the shoes. And it's easy to say, like I just kind of alluded to earlier, it's easy to say, well, you should have did that, you should have did this. Like, I came to the league 20, 21 years old, like, still pretty young. And at that time, I'm thinking I'm a grown man. Like, yeah, I got everything figured out. I really didn't, and I still don't. Like, I'm still trial and error, and I'm still making mistakes, learning from failures, learning from successes, learning from valleys, learning from mountaintops, learning from it all. And I'm grateful to be doing that. So, yeah, I'm now trying to figure it out, and I'm still have a lot of things to learn from, and got a lot of great people around me to help me with that. Yeah. All right, you guys have a good one.